Welcome to The Entrepreneurial Artist with myself, Chris Mercer, and my amazing co-host, Kat Machin.
Hi, Chris.
Hi,
Goodness, good to
Kat.
see you. Well, today we're talking about purpose. So what is purpose?
The purpose is the foundations of any business. So we're talking to two artists, and most artists that I come across say, I just want to paint. But if you're actually looking to start an art business, a writing business, and well, any kind of business, isn't it, Kat? Any business, the foundations is your purpose. So we thought it'd be a great way to start today of helping you discover your purpose.
And I would say that, so defining what is purpose, it's kind of like the reason you get out of bed in the morning. It's the whole like the whole reason for being that's not money. And I think that's quite important because obviously, once you start down a path, obviously it's not that you have to ignore money particularly, but that isn't necessarily the actual core of any business. The business is there to do a particular, activity or to serve to serve a purpose, right? To reach a particular goal or whatever it is. And in doing so will generate revenue. But that the revenue isn't, it's important that's it can be part of your mission, but definitely not part of your purpose. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. Because, the purpose is why your business exists. So, yes, you can say it's to make money, but it's what it means to your customers is what we're going to look at. So
Right.
what does it do for you? What does your business do for your customers? We will get to the money stage of it at another podcast when we'll talk about mission, because the money is important, but that's on your mission side. And then
Yeah.
this side is your purpose. So maybe an example we'll do is we'll kick off with our purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think before we get to that, I just think that um another thing that I think even more specifically for artists is that I feel like most art is there to as a form of message, right? Whether it's communicating emotion or whether it's communicating an idea or a concept. So actually understanding the purpose of why you're doing it is quite, I think, is quite important. Even if your whole thing is like doing photorealistic, like absolutely like replications, it's usually because there's something as beautiful, whether it's the feat of a human endeavor to actually do every single perfect line, or whether it's abstract expressionism and it's about expressing joy or something. So I think even just beyond the business side of things, like knowing why you even make the artwork is the fundamental to even communicate to an art collector as to why they want to get your stuff in their home. Because someone really early on in my career said to me, one of the most important things is the meaning behind the artwork, because actually that emotion that is derived from it is the most critical part of the actual, not even the image itself is as important as what it stands for. And I thought it was really interesting. But yeah, sorry, getting on to our own purposes, what's your purpose and how did you get to it, Chris?
Well, as you were saying before as well, it's like why to drive you to get out of bed and to keep going. Because sometimes in business, it's really hard to keep going. So to having that message to yourself, and it is a message to yourself of why you're doing it. So mine's to bring joy and colour and boldness and beauty into people's spaces, to invigorate them, to live loudly and add colour to their days. So,
Oh,
and it's what that means to me more than what it means to somebody else, because that's one thing we would point out, that it's not a marketing message for somebody else. It actually can be, but it's not. It has to hit you personally, but you can use it as a marketing message if you want to. But
how
this for
did you get
me,
to that?
well, this, how did I get to it? I always know that my art brings people joy. I've been told that, but it wasn't enough for me to keep me doing it when you're not making those sales, when things aren't working out, when you're on Facebook all day, when you're doing the things that the other business things that you don't want to do. Bringing people joy was not enough for me to keep doing it. So it had to be I want to invigorate people to live live, to live loudly. I want to add color to the days, and I don't mean physical color. I mean color as in
Having interesting
brightness,
lives.
activity, yeah, happiness, and all that. And like if anyone goes to my website, they'll see I have my happiness hacks. I'll have my
Oh,
conversations with Chris, where I'm interviewing like amazing, interesting people, because I want other people to find out about other people having fantastic, interesting lives. There's a big world out there, and it's like, go and have a freaking good time. So that sentence for me and my purpose means all of that to me.
oh, I
Yeah.
love that. And how did you come across that though? What was the thing in life that led you to realizing that that was what you're going to be about?
You know, Kat, it's been a long journey for me with my purpose, and the purpose, um, just keep, I'd say to anybody, just keep revisiting it and revisiting it till
Mm,
it feels like it's good for you. And I
yeah.
suppose for me, it was putting the two things together, because I'm a personal development junkie. I do business coaching work. So all of those things with helping people on along their paths had to be something as well for me with my purpose.
Mm,
So putting them both together, just in that one sentence, sort of clicked for me.
I love that.
But finding it has been a journey, and it's a process of looking at what do you bring to your clients, what do they find in your artwork. Keep asking yourself questions around
And I
all.
think also I think it's what resonates with you. So I think sometimes you just know in your core when you
Mm,
say something whether it's kind of right or kind of off. And I think for a long while, like as you're developing and understanding the whole your purpose, and I mean it may seem oddly basic, but to live a life of purpose is so essential. Um, but once you've got it, it's like it makes the hard days so much more bearable, as you said, like
yeah,
pour in those hours into the Facebook or whatever marketing platform. It makes it so much better because, and I don't know why, but the story that's coming up in my head was when you sold the picture of, was it the not the chicken, the cockerel picture that was very, very bright.
oh yeah,
Do you
yeah,
remember that?
yeah,
What was that?
yeah. And that was it was a great story, because I was selling through an art shop, and I've gone in to give them some more paintings. And you know, like you have one of those days where you think, oh, you want to be selling more, you want to be doing things. And I'd had paintings in for a little while. Well, this one sold quickly, but some others had just been for a while. And I had a chat to the lady, and I said, oh, some days you get, you know, where you just think, is it worth doing, carrying on? And she went, oh gosh, she said, you know, she loved my artwork. She said amazing artwork and everything. She said, but the lady who bought your cockerel, she said she came in and she said she's seen it, and she walked away, and then she's seen it again, and then she said, I've just got to have it. I've got to have it. She said she'd been a house had been in the fires in
Oh,
down south in Australia, and her house had completely burned to the ground. She'd lost all her art collection. She'd lost everything. And she said she just kept coming back to this. And she said, this can be my start again. This can be my, she's got no house or anything to put it in at the moment, but she bought
got
this
my house.
piece of art.
Yeah.
Yeah, this piece of art to like start her off on her journey of rebuilding the house, rebuilding her collection. And you think, oh,
Rebuilding her life,
wow,
you
I'm a part of
know.
that. I'm a part of
Oh,
that. Yeah.
I, yeah. When you said your purpose, that story was the one that just popped forward for me. I
Mm,
don't know, because I think that those are the moments that we endeavor to create, and you don't always get to see them because
no.
you're not always there at the end of the line. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean?
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's beautiful.
So having them and having that statement, you know, like, oh, I produce art that's very colourful and very bold. So when people have it on the wall, I know it brings them joy. but I have in my mind that I want it to be so much more, to a reminder for them to live loudly and maybe boldly. And that
And
brings
I
me
suppose
joy.
I suppose in a way though, that also is part of like last week's episode, which was drawing the line in the sand and you
Mm,
deciding to live boldly and go
yes.
forward. So it's actually not just like something that
Mm,
like resonates, but it's like actually part of your origin story as well. It's like how you got to be here.
that's very true, Kat. Yeah. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Yeah. Your turn.
My turn. All right. Well, my purpose. Look, my whole purpose is about connecting people to the cosmos, and getting people to really experience the stars. Now, there are lots of different reasons, but I think the major, or one of the things that people don't think about, and it's a weird scenario, is that you don't think about that you can't see the stars at night because you live in a city. Light pollution is something that's now affecting 99% of people in Europe and the US and 87% globally. Most people can't see the Milky Way. You're meant to be able to see it naked eye all time, obviously excluding when there's a moon about. And most kids obviously are going to be born, they're going to live, and they will die, and they'll have never seen the stars. That's the crux of it. But when I get back to the basics of it, I really looked at some of the most joyful and some of the most pivotal moments in my life and why I'm driven to do this. You know, Actually, and it's part of my origin story too, is that, I was working this job and I was working myself to the bone and I was exhausted. And I didn't understand what I was even doing with my life. I had what am I here for? I knew
Mm,
there was something bigger for me, but I didn't decide to make the jump until obviously after. And at that time in my life, I was about the most disconnected from the universe I've ever been, because there was no room. I was in the minutiae of life. There was no room to think about, well, does this stuff really matter on a grand cosmic scale? Right now, we've got, infinite direction, sorry, infinite distance in every direction. There's space. We're literally in space. We don't even think about that. We're enclosed in the four walls of our own homes. And it's something that really helps put life into perspective when you start to think about these things on a cosmic scale.
mm,
And I think it's good for the soul in general. It's useful and it's helpful for people to really contemplate and have that as a point of contemplation. And the one of the things you said that was interesting is like how people react to your work. And a lot of people say to me that the work is so relaxing.
mm,
They have crazy, hectic lives and they are struggling to find meaning and to find their place amongst it all. And when they have those moments with the stars, they remember that they are stardust, or they are part of something much bigger than them, or that their small of first world problems, which most of our problems
mm.
um, are insignificant in the grand scale of things. And for me also, I think I find a bit of spirituality in it. I went to Peru and I had a very deep meditation experience where I was blasted up into the cosmos. And I just felt the universe touch my soul in a way that it was so deeply healing. And I know that when people go and, you're stressed out, so you go look at a sunset or something. But for me, the stars are like that on steroids.
Mm.
You go out, if you get a warm summer's night and it's somewhere very dark, which to be honest, isn't many places in the world anymore, but fortunately a lot of places in Australia, put a nice picnic blanket out and just lay out under the stars and just see how many, it
Mm.
is,
Yeah.
it's like one of my friends says that he went to university to study philosophy, but then he found a telescope and he found all the philosophy he ever needed amongst the stars. And I think it's kind of one of those life affirming things. So
Yeah.
it's really good to be that for people,
Mm.
and to help people get access to the stars, because you just can't see them in cities. It's, maybe if you're lucky you'll see a few planets, the bright ones. Often planets, not even stars. You might see a couple, one or two. There are trillions out there.
Yeah.
And I just think it's genuinely a very sad situation that every day the lights get brighter in cities, or they sprawl out, and we lose the ability to see, to even look out into the universe. We're losing it day by day. And of course, population isn't going to go down, it's going to go up. And it's going to consistently, happen. So I really want to be that person that helps bring the stars to people, to remind them that they're part of this massive global picture.
And as you can see, as you're listening to Kat, she's very passionate about the stars.
I could talk about it for hours.
You can talk about it for ages. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, for me, personal development and people finding their passions and living boldly is like, I'm really passionate about it. And listening to you with your stars, that's all your thing as well, isn't it? Like, if you go to any of Kat's social media sites, you're a phenomenal knowledge on all of that stuff. It's not just an interest in the painting of it. It's your knowledge of the stars is crazy.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Like, I've spent a lot of time looking at them. I'm now getting into the whole astrophotography side, but that's a whole different podcast. But look, I just want to, again, you know what I mean? It's almost the same purpose. I want to help people. I want to help people with their lives, to give people a sense of belonging and calm, and maybe even spirituality, because I think I'm not a religious person, but I can't help but look at the stars and be shocked in utter awe at their, just how, like, when you understand science and how big things are, like how immense and vast and crazy that we even get to see this. It blows my mind every time. So, I want to be able to give that to people. And then, there's other side effects and benefits. Hopefully we can get more people to get interested in science and technology and STEM or STEAM and all of that stuff. So, and for me, I found my purpose, firstly through, pivotal life events. It was that origin story. It was leaving that very stressful job. It was going and doing the retreats. It was also the moments of my childhood that defined part of me as my identity as a human being. A lot of it was little things as a child, like sitting with my mom watching nature documentaries, or going out in the backyard with my dad and looking at the stars through binoculars. And I know not everybody's gonna have a story from their childhood, because like sometimes it happens and it's in the hypnotic years, you don't remember because you're too young. But it's like, I think there's a sense of joy about something from our childhood that you bring forward in your purpose. And sometimes, life can beat you down a little bit. And it's, especially if you're given the get a real job kind of thing. And I think, and then once you've identified those life-changing events, the hardest times in your life, the most joyful or the most pivotal ones, the moments of your childhood, the way that you got to be where you are, and you'll start to see a common thread. It doesn't make sense looking forward, but looking backwards, you can start to piece the puzzle together.
So I suppose it's, if you're working as an artist already, maybe your purpose is that you want, it is in the arts. If you're not working in the arts already and you're looking to find your purpose, it is that looking back to, it can be, what did you love to do as a child? And just, investigate that. So, but if you're an artist and you want to find your reason to get out of bed and keep doing this every day when things get hard. And it's also when you get a team. So when you get a team involved, you enroll them on your purpose as well. So you're all on the same page and the same journey together. So it's start to look at, what aspects of the business do you love? What do you bring to your clients? What value do you bring? And even just throw out words. Like I've been quite a journey for me to actually nail mine, and just throwing words out all the time of joy, happiness, like learning was a huge part of mine as well. And don't worry if it just doesn't come for a while, because sometimes it can take ages for you to get that one that you go, oh, like you said before, the core one where you go, oh, that's the one, you know.
That's it.
If you don't get that, that's fine. It's work with what you've got at the moment. Keep revisiting it. Keep revisiting it and going, okay, let's have another look at it. And it might change. Like when I first started mine, yeah, I think it changed weekly. It was like I was so desperate to find it, which is, you know, just chill and relax, and you don't have to be that tight about it. But I was so desperate to find mine. Every week I was like, oh, back to that piece of paper and do it again. But a lot of these things come naturally, don't they? You know, sometimes you just wake up and some words pop into your head and you think, oh.
I think when you find it, you often, you know, it sits with you, and it feels right. It's like putting on a nice comfortable shoe. That was a terrible analogy. I don't know where that came from, Chris. Anyway.
Your slippers on there.
It's like finding a beautiful piece of artwork that you can't let go. So Chris, what are your top 3 tips on purpose?
Top 3 tips are, well, the first one, I don't know if it's really a tip, really. Now I've come to do it, because I thought business can be challenging. So the purpose is to have something there. It's what we've talked about already, really, to have something there that you go, I've got to do this, I've got to paint it, because I could be the start of somebody's collection of their house that's burnt down.
That's an oddly specific purpose, Chris.
But it's true. Starting point of that, you know. So, you know, have something that when those challenging times come, that you go, get off my bum, get in that studio and start painting.
What's that saying? If the why is strong enough, the how doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter, because you'll find a way.
That's right. And we must say as well that this is your business purpose that we're talking about here. We're not talking about life's purpose. We're talking about business purpose. Most of the time, though, your business purpose does align with a life's purpose. But I just want to make it clear that we're talking business purpose for this topic today. My number 2 is it's not a marketing message. So it doesn't have to be fancy and fluffy and use fancy words. It's really basic and what touches your heart more. So it might be even more emotive words that really touch you. So don't worry about it. Well, don't have it. Just don't have it as a marketing message, because that's not what we're aiming for here. The third one, the third one, it will probably change, which I've talked about already. It will probably change many, many times till you go, oh, here it is. This is the one. But don't worry about it. Don't get caught up. It's, you know, think of it as fun. Start the adventure with, you know, I'm going to find out my business purpose. Let's have a little bit of fun around it and don't get too serious.
Oh, I like those. Wonderful tips, Chris.
How about you, Kat?
So my top 3 tips. All right, you ready? Actually, so much what we've already spoken about. Number 1 is that it's okay to be on the journey, and it's the same almost as your last one. Is that, you know, it takes time to find it, and just be okay with being exactly where you're meant to be at this moment in time. And you know, sometimes you just have to trial things. It's hard to do it all as a, you know, I'm trying to think, when all you do it is from theory, you know, put it into practice. So, you know, write it, live it a bit, and see if it sits with you. And if it doesn't, that's all right. No one's holding a gun to your head. You're allowed to change. It's okay.
I think we take things very seriously sometimes, don't we? We sort of start a business. It's like, oh, and you think, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Relax, chill out.
Number 2, I would say, is look at your most joyful and your most painful moments in your life. Compare and see if there's patterns or, you know, in most pivotal moments in your life, when you start to look at them and analyze them, you will start to see a common theme between those things that stick out, things that will then relate onto and explain to you why you do, or why you do what you do and why you are like you are. And I think, because like, this is the interesting thing about artwork, at least someone said this to me and I love it, which is that even if it's not your face, every single artwork is a self-portrait. It's a self-portrait of your own soul in some kind of way. So you just take that into mind, have a look at all of those moments and make the connection. And for 3, I would say, is just look at those childhood, look at your childhood and the things that you love to do when you weren't getting paid. I know that sounds like a strange thing, but the thing that you would love to do regardless of anything as a child, you know, that really does help. Now, it might be a specific aspect of it, like, you know, for instance, it might be that you really loved, oh god, I can only think of one very ultra specific thing as a child. I got really told off. This is a story time. I got really told off because I collared in there's like a playhouse and I got some chalk and I was like decorating the walls. Obviously I was just trying to make the place look beautiful, but I got absolutely told off anyway. So, you know, it's just like funny that little moments like that, just like wanting to make you know, people's homes feel nice. It plays in. Anyway, that was a bad example, but it was the only one that came to mind. But look at your childhood for the things you loved. For me, it was that moment out with my dad looking at the stars and just being in awe of it. You know, and you'll have lots of little moments like that, and sometimes, and this is the beauty of the subconscious mind, you don't always have to actively be thinking about it. You can ask yourself the question, well, what is my purpose and what are those important moments? And what happens is your active mind will always be working on it, even if you're not. And we've all been to that situation where we've been in a party, you know, when the next day we're washing our hair in the shower and we go, god, what was that lady's name? And you go, ugh, can't remember. What's the lady's name? And then like you totally forget the question, but then like 5 hours later you go, oh, it was Sandy, her name was Sandy, I remember. You know, you weren't thinking actively about it, your subconscious was. So it's okay, ask yourself the question every day, so it's front of mind, but then let your subconscious work it out. And those are my top 3 tips.
I just want to add, because it just came into my mind as well, that when I started in business and people say, what's your business purpose? I thought it was such a waste of time, you know, and now down the line, it's like, this is the foundation, the basic, most basic thing that it's so important to get. So if you're thinking now, oh, that's not for me, that's really doesn't matter. It really does. Don't leave it till 3 years down the line and sort of go, yes, that really was important. Just do it. Just play with it and go with it, because it's also a mindset as well. Are you a professional artist or are you a dabbler? So it's like, putting the challenge out there, Kat.
I like it. It's idea of identity and stuff comes into it massively.
I love you serious about this, then run it like a serious business. And the first thing you do with a serious business is find out why the hell you're doing it and what difference you make to the world.
Chris, I don't know how many people we've spoken to in business who are 10 years into a business and then they go, it doesn't align with me. I don't even know why I'm doing it. If they just spent the time working out the purpose, that would have been very clear right at the beginning. You know, don't go down, you know, because I think that's the problem also, is that you could invest literally half your lifetime in some cases we've seen investing into something that it doesn't resonate with you. So, you know, take the time now to work it out, because then you know you're on the right path. And that's the thing that I think is really important too.
And if you know it, we'd love to hear it. So share it with us as well, and share it with everybody, because it always helps people as well. Like, give them a little, you know, insight into, oh yeah, that resonates with me. you know, what we've said today on our purposes may resonate with somebody, and steal it, you can have it, you know, if that resonates.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously leave a like, comment, share, let us know what your purpose is, if you've had any aha moments, anything that stood out for you, or anything that you'd like to cover us to cover in the future episodes as well. We'll be back next week with another killer topic on being an amazing entrepreneurial artist. Until then, I'll see you later.
Have a great week, guys. See ya.
Bye.